Hallelujah, oh Lord. One from it go when they bored. We ain't supposed to be here, pop a cork. God did it, flexing, yeah, of course. Made it out the bottom, of course. I ain't gotta worry about a thing anymore. I just, yeah, of course. With a crown of thorns, feeling like a king, yeah, of course. Made it out the bottom, of course. I ain't gotta worry about a thing anymore. I just, yeah, of course, with a crown of thorns, feeling like a king, yeah, of course.
Yeah, young little hitter like a maestro. Ain't been anywhere that I can't go. Shawty told me I'm a star, told her I don't need a gas. What I really, really need is good credit in the bag. Mama saw me sign a deal, I told her there go. Now I'm waking up in lost on the wood floor. On my pride, I'm Mufasa, flex boy outta. God said he got it, so I stress not about it. I just, I'm a tighter hitter, yeah, I really do. People coming for the squad, get a coffin in the news. Been a king from a king, so my rings got a ring. Now my chains got a gleam, and my soul's been a beam. Well, of course, how you gotta drive with that power, need a horse. You don't run like a demigod with a force. I've been feeling charged, cause I'm plugged in the source. Playing from the end, I win, yeah, of course.
Hallelujah, oh Lord. One from it go when they bored. We ain't supposed to be here, pop a cork. God did it, flexing, yeah, of course. Made it out the bottom, of course. I ain't gotta worry about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Man. Oh, yeah, wonderful to be here once again. Shout out to Byron Juan
Okay.
for the lyrical selection.
Nice smooth.
Sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Y'all like it?
Yeah, a little bounce with it.
I
like
wanted
that.
it. I wanted the
In the cut.
I wanted the energy to be up for this show. I wanted the
Appreciate
energy to
you.
be up.
Appreciate
Yes, sir. Let's start this off right, ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
boys and girls, haters of all ages. Welcome to the UDK podcast. I'm your host Jay Easy. To my left,
Hex.
not in the building, but in our hearts as always, KG.
KG.
In the middle
Irv Nizzle.
and in the building as always.
Jay Titter.
Oh man. So wonderful to be here with my brothers once again.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna do this on the check. We're gonna try to do this as smoothly and succinctly as possible. But we're gonna leave room for any and all emotions that are around. Anything that we're feeling. Hex, how you feeling?
Man, I got mixed emotions. I mean, my energy is great because I got a lot going on, and I'm blessed, and God is good, and my family is good, and I got a roof over my head, and it's just so I got so many reasons to be honest about having, and then at the same time I'm like I'm feeling some type of way because KG is out.
Yes, sir.
He's dealing with
Love.
a serious situation with his mother, and so he's had to leave town. And then Irv is going through something. When I say it's a mixed emotions, because again, I'm seeing people outside the box. I'm seeing people persevere. I'm seeing people make the best of. I'm seeing people recognize life ain't always fair. And the worst of times can come when you don't expect it, right? And yet, I'm seeing the best of some people. So, family's good. I'm here. We're in the building,
Yes, sir.
and couldn't be more than grateful to even be on these airways, even try to share something about what's going on and how we feel about it.
Yeah. Irv, the floor is yours.
I'm here with a heavy heart, but I'm here. I can't say thank you enough to my brothers for the support that I received, that my family has received during this time. And my heart is in wherever KG and his family is. I know he's angry and ready to pod.
Yes, sir.
And I know that he knows that we are there with him as well. So I am just proud to call you dudes family, bro. That's
Sir.
I mean I don't know how else to express it, what more to say than, when anytime that you deal with the loss of a loved one, it's difficult. It's hard, and everybody deals with things differently. And I'm more than glad to be here right now with the people that I'm here with. There's a reason. God don't make no mistakes.
I know that's right.
Let's go.
And besides working hard and staying out of trouble, I'm here and ready to power my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. JR, the floor is yours.
Hey, heavy heart this week. Lost a cousin. And, Irv, we reached out to the family all week, and it's been tough. But there's a spirit that goes along with this particular individual that says go. It says go, man. It says go. I can hear him in my head now. Go. And let's continue with business. I hear this voice saying continue with business, because there's a lot of business that need to be taken out, that need to be taken up on. And as we go into this podcast, we just came out for Juneteenth, a celebration of where we are and where we have come as a people. And I thought about an 80s rapper who says, I'm in a rage because they say we act like rats in a cage. I try to argue, but every night in the news, we prove those suckers right, and I got the blues. And I want to get into that as well, because there's a conduct that goes along with what we're driving through here that needs to be expected of us. Even in all the joy and everything that we do, there's a conduct that we have to put forward, and we'll get into that, Jay.
Yeah. I am. I have a part. So I'm conflicted, right? Because I have a part of my heart that's heavy for my brothers, for their loss, but there's another part of my heart that's humbled for being able to offer condolences, offer support, offer energy, offer anything that I can give for them. And if any of you have people that are in your lives that are going through something, you have to understand that it's an honor to be able to be there for people.
Facts.
I need y'all to.
Facts.
Yes.
Speak on it.
Yes.
I need y'all to get that.
Take your time, bro.
You don't know until you know.
So I'm privileged to be able to do that. So we're gonna get into it. I'm not gonna dwell. My brothers already know what it is. This weekend was Father's Day weekend. It was Juneteenth. I had a wonderful weekend.
Happy Father's Day.
yes.
Happy Father's Day to all the
Absolutely.
fathers, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to celebrate with the family, and to celebrate with my kids, and to be celebrated. It was weird. Father's Day is like the weirdest. It's like It's like the weirdest holiday, because it's like you spend your whole existence supporting other people, and then when you get it back, it's weird. It's kind of like, oh,
It is. That's true, bro.
what do you want for breakfast?
That
Like, wait a
is so
minute,
true.
Right?
I get to choose now. I get to choose for breakfast.
Oh my goodness.
But I was thankful to be able to do that with my family. Another holiday we celebrated, Juneteenth, and I don't know if for the people who are longtime listeners, you understand how I feel and how we feel as a podcast about Juneteenth. Love the fact that we celebrate it as a community. However, we have a long way to go with celebrating that. With other holidays, there's a tradition, there's a spirit about the holiday that we have already instilled because we've been celebrating for the longest time, whether it be Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Memorial Day, whatever it is, it has a history, right? So that history is already embedded in society. So we know how to act. We have a reverence for it. I think that's the word.
That's it.
We have a reverence for these holidays. I don't think that right now, because we're still young in celebrating it as a country, we have the same reverence for Juneteenth that we have for other holidays that we should have for Freedom Day.
Bruh. You're correct, but not on the 10th power.
Go ahead.
And the 10th power of this is we are destroying each other physically, socially, mentally, and then we applaud only at one another's highest moments. And what we're not applauding is survival, paying the mortgage, paying the rent, paying the light bill, paying the water bill, groceries on the table. We're not making that the champ. That's the champ. Are you surviving? Then thriving, because the goal is not to only survive, because we only get someone to get it twisted. I said, no, that's not. Be clear. But unfortunately, here we have people on a Juneteenth scenario, on a Juneteenth celebration,
Yes.
on an afternoon where someone decides they have an issue with someone else, and today's the day I'm gonna murder you or attempt to. And we haven't found out yet on the first of the two situations we're about to discuss if the person murdered was a person who was sought after, or if this was just one of the other, again, 12 bystanders who also received shots by this individual. But my whole point is not to bring up the story. The point is we don't even have our youth at a point where they are culturally aware that at some point in time, you're going to have to recognize while we keep fighting and discussing all these things that keep popping up, fools, this CRT is because you matter. And we've done too much for y'all to sit in these streets and allow the game, this drug game. I get it. We get it. Everybody here at this table, we talked about it tonight. We know folks who y'all know. Trust me. That's not a question. The point is that's not a validation either. That's not a gloat in the slightest. That is just what happens to be. Yes, we understand there are people who are doing things that they must do to survive at a moment. But at the end of the day, if y'all are doing things that are only destroying yourselves, who will be left to represent you if you claim you love you? There's got to be a line drawn between the beef, the gun violence, and recognizing that as a people, you're bigger than the problem.
Let me just backtrack real quick. So Juneteenth is supposed to be a celebration of freedom, and it's supposed to be a time where culturally and as a community, you're supposed to come together and celebrate the fact that this is a time where black folk were notified that they were freed from slavery. I won't say they were freed from slavery. But this is a time we're supposed to celebrate the fact that we were free from slavery. This is it. This is our holiday. If there are any other holidays that are directed towards us, it's supposed to be this one. Over the weekend, there were shootings in Missouri, Illinois, and North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I believe the death toll is 22. There are 22 deaths this weekend alone. One of the shooters in the Illinois situation, and this just happened. This came out yesterday. Was a 15-year-old young man. Mm-hmm. The one in Illinois was a 15-year-old young man.
Right.
When we first started this show, we started the show before Juneteenth was a federal holiday, right? When it got announced by President Biden that it was going to be a federal holiday, I said, I am weary of this becoming a federal holiday because it's going to be bastardized. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we haven't done enough as a culture to understand how deep this holiday is. Mm-hmm. And with us bringing it to the forefront of being a federal holiday, all of a sudden it's going to be turned into what the other holidays are. It's just, this is an excuse to have a cookout. It's an excuse to shop.
It's an appeasement. It's a false reach across the table that's so minuscule it'll look and appear as though times are changing. Yeah. I told my wife, I said, we're watching TV. I said, all day I haven't seen a mention of anything about Juneteenth. Ain't been a program. The View had a little, it's Juneteenth. Yeah, okay. Thank you, The View. Nope. No disrespect. But thank you. You did say it was something. It was today. Right? And had like CeCe Peniston and all these other artists on the same song. Mm-hmm. So, again, thank you, because we love those artists as well, right? But at the end of the day, nobody until 9 o'clock, CNN ran a program. Oprah then piggybacked CNN's program and ran it on her network because it was hosted by CNN and put it on OWN. Showing you the concert at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? SWV and the jazz artist who's a Grammy Award winning and Charlie Wilson and multiple artists and groups, right? And they're just trying to bring attention to, let's celebrate today. Let's celebrate like this matters. Can you imagine this day? Juneteenth, the day, are you kidding me? For all the disrespect we think we feel now, all the oppression we feel now, all the things that still ain't right. How in the world do we not, as black folks, treat Juneteenth like it is beyond what we all think of as our USA Christmas? Juneteenth got to be number one in the notion that look at what you're still going through, and look at that what that day's supposed to mean and how you bastardize it.
Well, here's where the connection between what you're saying, looking at this thing as a national level where we go on air and broadcast, throughout the country, certain artists are asked to perform and so forth and so on. One of the things with the 4th of July is, coming over here, my parents coming over here from the Caribbean and growing up, one of the things I noticed was on a local level, county, state, municipalities, certain local pride. I think we're starting from backwards. I think we're starting from a national level rather than actually getting in a community level. I think that we're not appreciating. It's almost like the AAU basketball. You're sending these kids all around the country, and they don't even know who's in their backyard that they're competing against. Yeah, it sounds nice. They went to California and competed in Florida. But what about the backyard rivalries? What about the local communities? They come together and have a parade locally, and you learn about the heritage of your local communities.
I'm with that.
And municipality. And then we graduate to that level of a national concert and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Because the 4th of July was sold to me based on that. It was sold to me on parades and stuff that I saw my cousins involved in that probably had nothing to do with anything, but it was a local situation. I think sometimes you try to get too big too quick.
No, I'm going to say this much. Growing up, I'm going to keep it 100. It's not like I grew up in some kind of beyond woke home. That's not what it was.
Sure.
I didn't know about Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Till college. That's 100.
A lot of us did.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then there was only the talk of how they had a celebration in Galveston, in Texas, which is where, again, this General Granger went and presented the paperwork and said, "Look, if y'all let these slaves go, it's about to be a problem. I got all these soldiers with me to make it a problem." And they let all the slaves go that day, and it's because. And then we also know, as we just talked about Alabama just having having the laws that were just changed, and we still got backwards ways of how things are still getting done because there are places where people don't care, and the numbers are what they are, so you don't have any leverage. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we have to decide. Come on, man! If we don't decide as black people that the day we were no longer slaves is a day that really matters to everybody brown. Like, that's because we've seen this.
Sure.
Whenever I was watching the other day, this Brazilian athlete, this Netherlands athlete, all black as day. You can see that's Antoine, that's Tony, and their names or whatever for the countries they now live in. But that comes right back to them chips.
Yes. So I've told you guys, and we talked about the State of the Union. I know that sounds like, what are you talking about, the State of the Union right now? But there was a conduct in the State of the Union when our country should be putting its best foot forward, okay? This is a situation where we should be putting our best foot forward. That is calling out the true, what you would say, grassroots culture of why we're doing this. I want to see more people talking that are not of a celebrity status, but people who came up and had the true history of the regions and the things that were affected during that time. I know that's kind of hard, but you're talking about doing your homework. You're talking about actually taking the baby and giving it food it can digest first. Well, and then we get on to the hardcore food. But the problem is we're in such a rush now to make certain things a thing. Rather than actually getting down to something. It may take time for this to ramp up.
There you go.
But what we want to do is we want to make it as festive as things that have been around for quite some time. And I'm just saying we need to take our time.
I think you just hit the nail on the head, quite honestly. I think Easy said it when he talked about tradition and that we have a bunch of days or holidays that have occurred long enough that we have figured out ways to be accustomed to this is how we celebrate this holiday. Mm-hmm. And because of the newness of this holiday, we don't really know how to celebrate it yet.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So, and I think this is something that's going to take time. To me, it seems like collectively we are saying that this is new. To me, this is not. To me, this is MLK, and we're trying to figure out how to celebrate a holiday that's for African American folks. I mean, it is. The fact of the matter is that this is an American holiday. Yeah. I respect the fact that this is acknowledged because this is a part of American history, and it should be celebrated. And the fact that 2 years in we don't have a specific way or know exactly how to celebrate it, I'm quite honestly okay with that.
Okay,
you know if we are in the process of learning how to celebrate it, and then like Heck said, right now we should be making suggestions saying that what we just did wasn't good enough, and we need to figure out how to improve and build upon what is a day that we need to celebrate ourselves and our heritage.
And you know what? I feel like with and I haven't heard. I saw this article when I first put it in the group chat on CNN, and they put in the article about the shootings and things like that, and they kind of lumped them all together, and I get that, but we need to figure out a way, just like Herb was saying, we need to figure out a way that we have that tradition and we understand the importance of what's going on and have that reverence of the holiday. And I feel like with the news cycle, hold on, with the news cycle and what's going on, with so much information, so much stuff happening, it's like we allow it just to kind of just float off into the wind. And somebody needs to sit down for a second. We need to sit down and be like, I know that this politician, we'll get into that in a minute, this politician doing this. And, gas prices is this, and the economy is this. I get all of that. I understand all of that's going on because it's all important. But at the same time, we need to sit down and have more people be like, we can't have this.
No.
We need to understand the reverence of this holiday. And I don't feel like there are enough people that are actually stating that and basking in that. And we don't have that.
That's my first issue is, one, if you don't put anything on TV, and TV is the largest way to communicate. This is what we do in this country. If you want to get out a message, you put it out. And you do so through this tube. And they chose not to. And ultimately what happens is it doesn't get the histrionics that comes with it, which is the notion of, oh, this is really something to celebrate. Oh, there's really something going on. It's on multiple channels. It's something everyone cares about. And here's what I was when I was sitting here like on the edge of my seat, because I get it though that this is the hard part. This is where we have to rip the Band-Aid off. We're celebrating that no longer the bad things your ancestors did, not you, but because, and this is how you get to be braggadocious about it, because we're not them, we understand it too. It's yesterday. You did overcome. Your people were resilient. We respect you for being here now. Your ancestors are who you are. Now here we are together. We're going to celebrate the fact that yesterday's horror is not going to be our consistent thing. We still try and hide it under the stairwell. The problem is we have to decide we're going to be real. It happened, wasn't you, but it happened to somebody who you look at as less than because they have less than, when we know the results are bad behavior took for those who had.
You say this all the time. It's the media.
Oh.
It's the media that gets to dictate what the story is.
Right.
And you, just like all of us here, know that the media is not favorable to us,
People of our community,
so to speak. So, besides, like you said, Oprah's network was the network besides CNN, because CNN did do something, and I'm sure that we're all aware that there's nobody on Fox News that was advocating for anything Juneteenth to be shown. So you know that both sides of the spectrum, it wasn't on Newsmax, it wasn't on ON. This wasn't something to be celebrated,
Or ABC, or Fox, or CBS, or NBC either.
And all of that is the fact that this wasn't to be celebrated as much as any other American history is the beef that I have.
And I understand their beef is going to be, guess what? They don't really teach the children
No.
why we celebrate 4th of July. They don't really teach it. Not for they tell you.
No.
And if you remember it, then cool. If you get your Boston Tea Party together, super. But if your ass had to play Jeopardy, the average American, they just know if they're off that weekend, it's Independence Day. Because again, if y'all saw the special this weekend about showing you the reading scores are down, the math scores are down, this nation, we consecutive again, 10 more points. We're not being honest, and so we don't have real information being shared. We don't have real information being shared consistently. Yeah. We're not having it showed in positive ways, and we're not trying to find ways to talk about a very sensitive subject for the masses to hear, to recognize why we should be able to be grown enough to be able to have our kids learn and know yesterday's mistakes are real. Yeah. And we're better than we used to be, which is supposed to be the point. And look at the growth which happened. And ultimately, unfortunately, the rest of America, this is the day that the black folks get to be celebrated for overcoming all that they went through, and it is their day.
But we missed a generation, and what's happening now is, I think, to be solutions-oriented, You got to bring back the local parades. You got to bring back the stuff where the kid is uncomfortable because they're dressed up in a such and such costume, but they have to go out there and march. They have to go out there and do the things they have to do. Why? Why do I have to do this? Because your heritage, your culture.
That's it.
And then we educate it from, like I said, the local counties, the local. It has to be. See, everybody wants the big splash, the big media splash. I want OWN. I want so-and-so to recognize us. That's not the way it's going to get. If you don't get in the trenches, you're not going to make a change. Okay? All that stuff is sexy when it's time. I spoke to my mother-in-law, and she was telling me about, the way her father used to get up and, in a township, and they would represent. Now, whether he was representing what was, good or what was, but it was, you just did it. We got to get to a point where we don't have a whole lot of explanation early. They just get to know that that's their culture. That's what they do. And it's uncomfortable, but then they will learn later that this, what they did, how we put it together and why we do what we do locally is important. Important.
You know what? I said this in an earlier pod. And I don't want. I feel like it's appropriate to say it now. And I want to go back to something that I believe it was Irv said. We're figuring out how to celebrate this, right? So we don't. If you go to the average person, they don't understand how to celebrate.
They don't even know about it
at all.
They don't.
Because it's not on TV.
We need to
or being taught.
Oh, wait. We need to establish, and I hear you about TV, but we know that when it comes to things that our community does, and I'm all for diversity, I'm all for inclusion, but I'm talking to black people. I'm talking to black people. When it comes to things that we do to set the tone as far as things that are trends or whatever the case may be, people follow us, right? But that's when we know what we're doing. Custom leads to community. Community leads to culture. Culture leads to change. Those are the C's. Yes. That's what it is. If we don't have the culture, if we don't have the customs, if we don't understand why we do things that we do, we won't be able to show people why this is important. Because when they see us do shit like that, they're sitting like, oh, this is just a day off. These motherfuckers.
Exactly.
These motherfuckers ain't doing shit. With 4th of July, what is the number one thing with 4th of July that we do in the country? What's the thing that we do?
Fireworks.
With
and barbecue.
With Thanksgiving. What's the number one food that everybody eats Thanksgiving? Yeah. When it comes to, I don't feel like I need to keep going. With Christmas, with the tree, what do we do? What's the number one thing that we need? We need gifts.
Yes.
We have a thing because we understand how important it is.
Those are the traditions that you were talking about.
Good,
bad, or indifferent, whether they're right or wrong. Christmas has nothing to do with shopping, but we shop our asses off during Christmas time.
That's now you're talking about those who won't participate in Juneteenth, who decide to participate in Black Friday.
But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a reason. I just want to say that it's supposed to be bigger than just black folks celebrate. This is an American holiday, right? So, and the reason, just like MLK, there were places that argued that this shouldn't be a holiday at all that, and there are states to this day, right now, that are teaching that this essentially is a part of CRT and should be not even taught. Okay, so
why would you tell the rest of the world when Negroes were no longer Negroes but African Americans, Black Americans?
But if it's worth celebrating,
when was you going to do that?
Yeah.
What day?
If it's worth calling a holiday, then it's worth educating all Americans for the reason why it's a holiday.
Yes.
So I know it is. It should be a celebration of black folks, but it's supposed to be a celebration of America.
Hold on, but you know, the realest shit ever is. You know what it really is? It is a reminder of the day it was all over. the free labor,
Right.
No argument with that, bro. At all.
the free women, no discretion for all the disdain that went down. Can you imagine that final when the soldiers really showed up? Like, no, for real, man. Today we willing to kill you if you don't let these black people off your land, even though they got nowhere to go. Yeah. And for today, we to have a cookout over Chris's house, Tony's house, Sarah's house, and then somebody be mad at somebody else who looks like you, and you'd kill them. Yeah. I get this. A reality of shit happens. People got beef. People got issues. Things happen. The other problem is, are we not recognizing at some point in time?
Sure.
As much as we talk about it, you being played.
Yep.
You're being played to doing the things that are leading to you in the situation.
And like Irv is saying, it's a page in American history. Yeah. See,
but we can't leave it at that, because if we leave it as a cliche, then what was the point?
But the bigger thing is, it's a date that we're saying the evolution of this country, which is still in its, I wouldn't say infancy stage, maybe it's toddler stage. This country, this is a part of American history.
Yes, sir.
So we have to force it into them like that. Not necessarily. This is what it is.
And you know, we never had, and I'm glad you brought it up. We've never had, as we have MLK Day, right? We have that, but there's never been a day. MLK Day celebrates.
What's the difference?
Martin Luther King and his life, right? But there are no days that we have that actually celebrate us as a people. Anytime we get something to celebrate us as a people, it's always an issue. So if we're going to have that, we have to take it seriously ourselves. They're not going to take us seriously unless we take us seriously. So if
so I'm go ahead.
It's the continuance. It's a continuance of growth of this country.
I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there right now. All the networks, OWN, Oprah, ESPN, BT, VH1, Viacom. Y'all want to really get down for next year's Juneteenth? Here's what we do. We set it up so we're going to celebrate this thing like it's a real thing.
Yes.
Like we're going to acknowledge those individuals who set up a situation for you to even have existence in a country that's thriving the way it is now is because someone did it for free.
Yeah, we're going.
And in the midst of it, you still mad at somebody having the nerve to even want to be acknowledged for doing some work for free. You wouldn't work today underpay. Imagine working for nothing.
My picture of that would be what you're saying is, tune in. Okay, we're like the Macy's Day Parade or like Thanksgiving. Hey, we're looking at Fulton County in Atlanta, and this is the parade that's going on. We're looking at Prince George's County in Maryland, and this is the parade that's going on. There are parades going on across the country. If you want to do something like that, it's going to take some stuff locally where we get something going on. I don't want to see the latest artists going on there dancing. That could be the later night. I'm not knocking that, but we have to have something that's going on that's entrenched in the communities.
And for the rest of those who aren't African American, here's the one thing you can do. This is the moment for you to say, this is the country I live in, and look what they used to do. Look what they no longer do. Look how we've grown. Look where we were. Look what's possible. That whole dream thing can't be without an actual example. Yeah. And there is one.
And I just pray that we start to take this more seriously so that the rest of the country can follow suit and they take it more seriously. We're appointed. Wow. We're really over. We're going to refresh our drinks, and I hope y'all understand how serious this is, because I don't want y'all to just feel like this is just a day off, because I get that. A lot of holidays we do that, but this shouldn't be just a holiday off to us.
This is your day off.
This is your right. This is your day. We're gonna refresh our drinks. I'm off the. I don't know. I had brown and white tonight. I don't know what's going on.
That's got to be the peace day. That's got to be the put it down day. I don't care what else is going on.
When you had the brown and the white
on Juneteenth,
right?
That's got to be the like dog. I don't care what it is.
Equal opportunity.
If we end up at the same cookout, it's here for the fun.
Equal opportunity,
and that's it.
Yes, sir. We're gonna refresh our drinks and we'll be back. Hex, give me one.
UDK.
Do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed. the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress.
I'ma need some duct tape, some chloroform, cutouts for ransom notes, a pair of sturdy handcuffs and a couple antidotes. The venomous bites, some gold chains acting as antelopes. For cubs sticking they lions, chick that look like Amber Rose, standing on the corner, mind her business, ass poking out. And therefore she drawing attention and I've been planning about 3 years, bringing the lower elements to their knees. Why? Mostly cause y'all motivated by vanity, greedy. You'd rather be seen in summer jam with your hands up on the screen and put that work in. Buried myself inside of my dreams, your hustle virgin. Mind been so deep in these women's minds that they plotting to take my girl out, sending pieces for rhymes like play your cards right, cooperating, we won't kill your love.
Novocaine up in my veins till I feel it trust.
Feeling for the needle, desert eagle, pumping heroin, feeling after shocks, crack rock, wasn't real enough. The paradigm shifted and it ain't moving back, I guess I gotta live with stunting and moving stacks, popular demand, trap boys all over bandwidth. I stand with real shit, I ain't losing that, the paradigm shifted. Hey, what you saying? I say the paradigm shifted. Yeah.
You don't know what I've been through. Lost it all in my rents due. Trouble, when it rains it floods. In my pain, no it ain't all good. No, but I tell them this, I'm a witness that everything gets made new. So tell them, dog, I ain't through. Feels like this life just became a fight. Yeah, I'm in and ain't no way out. The pressure's on me, yeah, the stressure's on me. But tell them who ain't gon' crack, homie. Woo!
I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. Look, it ain't nothing I can't do.
Okay, life for most. We know that this is not paradise, but we swear it's tight when she wear it right. I feel the heat, that's my enemy vice. It's arresting me to get the rest of me. You start burning for that, but ain't no turning me back. That's pressing me, and they testing me. To see me fail, to give me hell, so I be burning in that. Yeah, right. Life is an island, which means we trapped in that. But we cool cause the view so nice and lax. And we don't feel the pain cause the laughing gas. But one blast of that, and you'll forget that this pain is real. Yeah, but no matter how good it feel, man, this pain is the thing that kill. Man, I heard that, so I swerved back. Curved that until he curved back. Every time I feel that urge back, we cross paths when we merge at. It drives me crazy, but lately, man, I feel like I can make it. Just last year I couldn't take it. In the strip, man, I can say this.
I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do. Look, it ain't nothing I can't do. Might walk on hard. I won't lose still. Gotta go hard. But I ain't gotta do it myself. I can't do. There ain't nothing I can't do.
There ain't nothing I can't
Can't
do.
do.
I
There ain't nothing I
knew
can't
Easy
do.
was feeling that joint.
I'm with him.
I need y'all to just
I'm
hear that.
with him.
I need y'all to hear that. The self-doubt and all that other shit. You got people
Exactly.
telling you what the fuck you ain't nothing you can't do.
Hey,
Who's that
yeah,
cat, man? Who's that cat?
Tadashi.
Tadashi.
Dashi, man.
Sir.
Hey,
Tadashi with the music.
man, say, let's go. AM in the morning,
Yes, sir.
percolating off that coffee, and we gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Jay.
Let's go.
Nothing, man. If nobody got you, you gotta have you.
You gotta have.
You gotta have you.
Yes.
Speak on it.
Oh man, we
Speak
back.
on it.
Back, we back.
That's fucking dope.
Let's go.
Oh man, we back. So full transparency, there was a lot going on in the halftime of the podcast today.
Ain't nothing
And
new.
y'all are not privy to any of that, but just know that it always does my heart good to be able to have conversations like that with my brothers. And,
Always.
and hopefully y'all can have candid conversations with people. And that's the ultimate goal. I feel like that's the ultimate goal of this show, is to be able to have candid conversations about stuff that really matters.
Get people talking, man.
That's it. That's it. Now, speaking of good people talking, we're going to talk about the opposite of that, bad people talking.
Clowns.
Yes, see how I
Always grabbing the headlines.
yes, see how I did that?
Right.
We spoke at length for the past few pods about the Republican frontrunner for the nomination. 45 defended Trump, Donald Trump. I'm sorry, Donald Trump
Defended.
You're getting so used to that.
You know
Accurate statements.
Yes. Irv, I'm gonna kick it to you. I have family that is in their legislatures, right? That actually do litigation and do stuff like that. Donald Trump is sending himself to jail. Is that fair? He's sending,
I think that's an accurate statement.
Attempting
trying
to.
to send himself to jail.
He's trying to.
Yes.
But
Irv, I'm gonna kick it to you, and give us an update on 45's latest attempts to put himself behind bars.
so, my man has decided. I'm sorry. It's an amazing thing. It's audacious. It's sometimes I'm shocked with the level of arrogance.
Audacity.
Yeah, the audacity. That's what it is, man. It's like, so essentially he has been charged with having boxes that he wasn't supposed to have, and he was supposed to return to NARA, the National Archives, basically. And there, at one point, he said that he declassified all of these items with his mind that nobody knew about, right? And then today, well, not today, but now, in the last couple of days, he said that there were some items in the boxes that he felt that he needed to go through before he could return them to the National Archives. Stuff like his golf shirts and golf pants.
What?
And his socks. And it's almost to me, it seems like it should be insulting that the rules were you had an opportunity to declassify things when you were president, right? So, and you're no longer president and you have these boxes. So you negotiate with NARA, the National Archives, to return these boxes, and you get a set date at which time you're supposed to return these boxes. And your lawyers say that you have returned all of the boxes that you were responsible for returning. But then the FBI finds out that you haven't returned all of these boxes. And then they ask you again, are there any boxes that you have? And you say no. And then they raid your property and find that there are boxes there that weren't supposed to be there. And you say that I was entitled to have these boxes because, as I previously said, there were golf clothes and shirts and things.
Defiance.
And
Exactly.
I wanted to go through these boxes at my leisure to make sure that there was nothing of my personal items that were left in these boxes. That now, let's not even mention the fact that some of the items that were in these boxes were like an attack plan on Iran or
Nuclear capabilities of other countries.
Stuff that I would like to believe that our National Intelligence Agency would consider important items that should be top secret and not held at the former president's residence.
I'm sorry. I hope that national security has not inconvenienced you, sir.
But it's
Well, the first question should have been, why did you pack him up and take him with you to begin with?
why did you tell the National Archives that you had already given everything that you had and there was still more stuff to be had?
Because he assumed they had no knowledge of it to begin with, which showed his stupidity. Because what he should have said to himself
showed his arrogance. I don't think it's stupidity. I think it showed his arrogance.
If they asking me the question, they must know I got boxes. And he didn't put two and two together and thought I'll brush it off and found it the hard way. The problem is, it's time for showtime again. caught with his hand in the cookie jar on tape.
On
I had
tape.
my golf cleats and T-shirts.
But you know what?
There's no way I can turn that stuff in. You mean the stuff you didn't even have?
But you know what? He has never been
held accountable.
Held to account. He's never been held
It's
to account.
showtime.
So when you have a child, like if you have a child who you always you shield them from touching the stove, right? The stove is hot, and you always shield them from touching it. It's like, no, don't touch that. It's like, I want to touch the stove. No, don't touch that. I'm not gonna let you do that. And then we get to a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm not there anymore. And all of a sudden they touch it and they go, oh, that's hot. It's like, yeah, it's hot. He's touching the stove now. Right. It's like it's nothing else you can do. I've never seen him afraid in an interview.
There's no contrition on his part at all. He is never concerned about what consequences can actually be. Like they said, when the indictment itself was announced, he made $4 million.
He made money.
$4 million. They fundraised off of him being indicted.
Yep.
And again, it is always mind blowing that the billionaire, this guy's supposed to be a billionaire, supposedly, and I can fundraise off of all of you poor people that believe that I have been wronged and that I'm here to support you poor people that are scraping the bottom of the barrel to donate to my legal fund, even though you can't really say that I haven't committed a crime.
Let me ask you a question. So I've asked the question before, and I'm gonna ask it again. I asked it a few pods ago. Given the evidence in this case and the severity of what's going on with him in this case with these sensitive classified documents in these boxes,
37 counts.
Yes. Do we feel? And I remember everybody's answer. Mm-hmm. Do we feel like he's actually going to see jail time?
No.
Hex?
No! Stop that!
Nah. I need it. Hex?
I truly believe that he is capable of being held accountable. I say that only because we've gotten as far as we've gotten. They've done this in multiple courts. I think it'll be the most damaging thing to the country if he went from district to district with not guilties on some kind of minuscule reason. At some point in time, if he wasn't to be held accountable, he'd become our modern Putin.
Irv, I heard your answer already, but give me some context to the no.
First of all, this dude is already a traitor to our country. Okay, he's already guilty of sedition. The whole we have what were the election people that the alternative electors in all of the counties that he thought was going to give him
the fake electors, yeah,
bruh. This has already been done. I'm still trying to understand why there's even a debate left. This man should have been in jail along with everybody that was complicit in this whole routine. And I do understand that the investigation that he's under, the Jack Scott guy, already has these fake electors. He's giving them immunity, and they're going to cop to whatever he's done. But at the end of the day, this dude is already a criminal. He's been a criminal for quite some time. It is a sad. It's the fact that this man is leading in anybody's polls, the number one Republican at this time in the primaries. Mm-hmm. The fact that he could lead any poll in this country under any circumstance with what he's already done is beyond amazing to me. All right, so there's no way, but the people that have George Santos and have fought for George Santos, the people that are trying to, like, I think we were having this conversation. I don't know whether it was the war room, whether it was halftime, but I said that The Republican Party has already knighted this guy. He is their messiah. So now that you've already gone down the rabbit hole of a bunch of lies, at some point in time, you're going to have to acknowledge that all the stuff that you were selling was a lie. Now, and I get that politically it is anathema for you to do that because you, as a Republican, need his 33%. And you've had 6 years right now. I mean, you've had plenty of time to try to be the alternative and gain that 33%. But that 33% is still solidly with this criminal traitor. And none of you people have been able to get that 33% away from him. So tell me what should give me optimism that there's another direction that the Republican Party is going to go in besides supporting this criminal.
You know, it's almost like a game that if we can woke up tomorrow and they said, you know, in this area in the DMV used to be like, psych, I'm just playing. Psych, I'm just playing. That used to be like basically saying, we've been bullshitting you this whole time. This whole thing, and this was to show you how fragile and how compromised our system of justice is. Show you how compromised what the things that we hold so dear, how easily it can be breached. And you used to say, hey, I just did this all to just show you guys how weak we are as a country, how there's so many loopholes that we can get through and tighten it up. But that's not what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's not what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it's just a situation where I think that this is just borderlining on comedy now. But it's not comedy because this is national security. So you say to yourself, this is what we're seeing, but what else is there that we don't know?
Well, what we do know is that, once again, if you pay attention to what's going on when it comes to broadcasting, why is a story about our last president of the United States not frontline news everywhere, every day? The guy who ran the country is being indicted on doing what and what? Why are you not treating that like you would Scott Peterson and a missing wife on a vacation to Aruba? That in itself is the clear indication when something's wrong. Look where you are. Look what they're not doing. Look what they consistently choose to do when it comes to turning a blind eye to whatever Donald Trump does. And somehow, some way, we need, I said to someone, we need like wristbands. Either you are okay with how the game's being played with a person like that, or you're not. And I need to know what kind of human being you are. Just personally. And the notion of, you know, he got some, is this a he got some okay idea type of guy? Really? Is that what you're thinking of Donald Trump?
You know, I think
when it comes to our country?
I think we're past, in
the division?
There are a lot of people who voted for him in 2016 who like to forget that they voted for him.
Yep.
It's a lot of people they don't.
And,
it was a
and
joke.
2020.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Sleepy Joe.
Hi, I got you. Hi, got you.
Yeah.
No,
right.
No. I think with this case, and just to put my vote on the record, I think that he will be found guilty, but I don't think he's going to face any jail time. I don't think he's going to go to jail.
Let me say this: if he doesn't go to jail for January 6th, then we don't really have law. And what I mean by that is we only actually have one in pretend, and it will only be for everyone else. It'll be only for everyone else. All of us, the common man. That's who the laws will apply to. There'll be a group we won't know who's in the group until they do something right in front of all of our faces. Hey man, if you don't go down there and do something, we're gonna lose our country. He states that the people come storm the Capitol, and you yell.
But I think
it's not his fault.
But I think with January 6th and with what is going on, I feel like this is affirmation for something that that people who are, I'm not gonna say woke, I hate that word, but people who are enlightened, who are actually paying attention to what's going on. We've known this for a while. There are two systems. We know this. This will be affirmation that there's a different justice system for regular people, and then for people who they deem to be above that system. This is going to be affirmation for that.
I think he is guilty. I think it was done in broad daylight. I mean,
Right.
we watched January 6th happen in real time.
On TV.
To this day,
We was in a group chat.
yeah, to this day, I don't even understand how there's some type of debate to say that there was anything that happened different than what we all saw on live TV. Now, it's amazing that there was a certain segment of our country saying, "Don't believe what you see
Don't believe
with your own eyes and what you're hearing on TV," even though that was exactly what's happening. There's a man, the dude that suggested that that he had a legal plan for this and suggested this to 45 is under investigation right now.
Right.
I don't have any doubt at all that he will be found guilty of what he did because his suggestions were circumventing the laws of our country. I don't care how you look at it. If you're saying, well, I was just trying to an alternative side or a different debate to have about the transition of power in our country, about our country having a non-violent transition of power for over 200 years, and we lost that to 45 of all the people.
So you
45.
So, and it's funny, as you're talking here, I'm hearing us always talk about a lack of outrage. That's what you're talking about, a lack of outrage.
Oh, yeah.
As these things are happening.
Remember,
the only thing that I can say, and that may have back in the civil rights, and I wasn't around that time, but the only thing that may have driven things like that, when you have to fight to get to a place, then the fight will continue. What's happening is now we have a lot of people who have been placed in positions. I don't care what you say. They will say, I worked hard to get here. No, they've been conveniently placed. So they're not ready to rock the boat. So that's where that outrage kind of takes a back seat. Because what you guys are saying, we have a process from that January 6th thing. We have a chronological timeline of things that have gone downhill since then. But there's no outrage because there are some people sitting in some seats that have been placed in those seats and are comfortably being accommodated to keep those seats that they're in. And it doesn't have to be at a certain level, elected official level, but they've been there, so therefore they won't rock the boat. They've been told not to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And thus you're seeing what you're seeing today.
And I think I'm gonna go. I got you.
Yeah, you go.
I want to go to not rock the boat, and I feel like that is the biggest detriment to our country with this situation, right? Because nobody wants to rock the boat. They don't want to send a president to jail. They don't want to hold him accountable because it sets a precedent, and because they don't want to be known as the ones that sent even though he's guilty.
But he's the guy who did all the things.
Yes, but nobody wants to be the one to hold him accountable. They don't want that. They want to look like they're holding him accountable. Oh, we sent him to trial. Oh, we indicted him. Oh, we did it. But nobody wants to be the one to be like, I held the door. Nobody wants to be the one to hold the door. And that's the biggest drawback to this situation is nobody wants that responsibility.
Nobody wants to be the one to close the door to me. Like I don't want to be the one that closes the cell door to this former president. And I understand that the optics of that would look bad.
Sure.
It is, especially since 45 to me is not a dumb guy, and he's playing it for what it's worth. The visuals of it look bad, even though you know that you are worthy, and you've committed the crime to justify, but you're trying to make it a political thing as opposed to a criminal thing, and you are indeed a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to come down to whether or not we're going to acknowledge we have a justice system, we cannot have someone put in our faces violations in laws and challenge them publicly as well. And that's really what it's either he's taking advantage of the power and the position.
He is.
But it has to be acknowledged. And so once even the courts have said so once, twice, 3 times, somewhere we have to have somebody who's willing to air this and act like it matters. It is the weirdest thing. If the president was shot, you'd be running it all day. So now we have an ex-president, and we find out who's broken all these laws, who's being indicted on all these things he's violated, and he's being held accountable. And it is unprecedented.
Yes.
But guess what? It is the reality. And so trying to shun it away while he's still insulting you. That's the worst part. He'll have a humble bone in his body.
Hell no.
At all. Like we always had criminal presidents.
Yes.
Right. Man. And it's like, yes, people may have things they did done that was questionable, but they're not you, bro.
Right. And then, but I didn't know because I'm a businessman. Politics is it's like I have so many excuses, but at the end of the day, if you broke the law, bruh, you need to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what side of the aisle you are, whether it's Hunter Biden or Joe Biden's family members or all, whatever you guys are speculating about the Biden family, there are facts about 45.
Boom.
And either side, regardless of what it is, if you broke the law, you should be held accountable.
Hell
There
yeah.
you go.
Oh man. I hope he goes to jail. That's just my hope. Wonderful show. KG, we love you. Shout outs to you before we get to the rest of the shout outs. We're with you. We pray for you and your family. We hope all's well. We hope all's well so you hurry up and come back and get back to the show. Prayers up for you. Hex, shot.
First of all, I just want to say it's dope how you talking like he's right across from you.
Yes, I am. I'm pointing
awesome.
and looking. I'm pointing and looking.
And we all love you.
Yes, we love you. Hex, shout outs.
Man, shout out to everybody who listens to UDK. Shout out to everybody who supported Juneteenth. Shout out to everybody who understands that it's not an ongoing fight. It's just an ongoing hope for acknowledgement and a better tomorrow. And if we stop looking at it as a negative thing, then there might be some more give and take in there. Shout out to UDK.
Yes, sir. We're going to switch it up a little bit. JR, shout outs.
Hey, man, shout out to, first of all, I want to say shout out to Juneteenth. I don't want anybody to get the idea that we're critical of the idea that we're making progress, but the idea that there's a lot of work to be done. And just because you get something doesn't mean that you can't sharpen it. Okay? And I'm willing to be patient, and I know everybody here is willing to be patient to see that. But I think we're asking for a little bit more. We're asking to be sharp with this. Let's ride with this, and let's keep it moving forward and look forward to the next couple of years. Shout out to cousin Billy, man. Man, it's on our hearts all this week. We lost you, man, far too soon and far too sudden, man. And it's just not enough words. If you never met the individual, it'd be tough to really explain. But I know everybody has a person like that in their lives, in their family. Don't take them for granted because, man, you never know when they're going to check out. Even though they tell you they're not going to check out anytime soon, the day becomes ever so sudden when it does happen, man. And Shout out to cousin Billy. You know, hail to our Washington football team and our Washington area because that's what we always loved and everything that we did. Shout out to my family, and I'm here for you in the process of what we're going through, man. And Billy, I just want to say I love you, bro. You know, you meant so much to me, man, and you were so inspirational to me, man. And I simply want to say, gone.
Herb, the floor is yours.
Shout out to William Albert Selden. I love you, Uncle Billy. Gone.
Shout out to anybody who's ever listened to this podcast. Shout out to anybody listening to this podcast. Shout out to anybody who will listen to this podcast. Bookmark it, save for later. Like, oh shit, this shit is dope. They send somebody listen to it. Oh shit, this shit is dope. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And we're going to do this again next week because y'all can't get rid of us. Hex, give me one.
U-D-K.
It's best if I move on. I'm tired of making songs about you, girl. Made it clear that you don't care. No, this ain't fair. No, this ain't going nowhere. That's why it's better if I'm just on my own. 'Cause you would rather eat my heart alive and leave me up for 10. Mess around with you, it got me fucking with my head. I gotta let you go. Won't be a fool for you. I'm on to knowing better things now. Focused on myself, girl, now I wish you have the best. I'm the best you ever had, and I'll leave it at that. Gotta let you go. Won't be a fool for you. One day you gon' see that it was different with us. I put my faith in you, but now I'm giving up. Always wondered how you keep the distance with us. You claim for life, but now our future is without us. Won't be a fool for you. The further I am from you, the more I feel less I can lose. I know I can do better without you now. Back to back, I used to call your phone.